Guess who made it finally? Hi, folks. Sorry, I had some serious technical problems here that fortunately I have alleviated. And hopefully, you guys are still with me. Just going, where does this guy go? What is he doing? Anyway, there you guys go. I'm back, and I hope you're still watching. I wonder what's going on. Yeah, Pat, are you there? I'm here. And again, sorry for the wait. That was a good 15 minutes. And like I said, I hope most of you haven't dropped off yet. So from the beginning, welcome to the Golden Rage of TV Live. And I've got some great news. Coming this November, new episodes of Retro TV Trivia Live, the video series, will be continuing on my YouTube channel. It's beginning on Halloween, which is a perfect day considering my first episode is, I'm going to give you a sneak peek here. This, which I think you'll like. No, I know you'll like. So just to be sure you guys know I'm here, I'm going to check in. Looks like most of you have hung with me. You've stuck with it. I certainly appreciate it. Okay. All right. So again, in November, I'm also going to continue on with my Retro TV Trivia podcast. And I have some great guests lined up already. Just today, as a matter of fact, I got to interview this lady, who you might recognize as Olivia Walton from the Waltons. And that's Michael Learned. And she gave me a great interview. Can't wait to share it with you. We talked a little about her more recent work, too, playing Jeffrey Dahmer's grandmother. Yes, in the new Netflix series Dahmer. So you can catch her there. And she's still going strong. It's amazing. What a powerhouse. So I know what you're here for, if you're still here, and that is to hear my ghost story. I live in Santa Cruz, California, which is on the Central Coast. And the band that I was in the early 80s worked a lot. And we covered the coastal areas of California and the Central Valley as well. Working a lot, we started developing followings in certain areas. And Fresno, California was a good place for us. We developed a following there. Now, granted, it's 130 miles away, and I know nothing about the place other than it's in the Central Valley and it's hot. and people really like to go night clubbing there. So it's always a great audience. At any rate, we used to play at this place called the Star Palace. The Star Palace was managed by our manager. So we had a great inn, and it was a really nice. Get it out, Pat. It was a really nice nightclub. And so yeah, that was a regular place for us to play, and it was quite often. The name of the band at the time was called Starborn. Here's Starborn. You'll recognize me as the guy, the second from the left weirdo with the pirate shirt. And on the far right, by the way, is my friend Christian Taylor, who you've probably heard me mention quite a few times in the past. He's definitely been a big part of what makes Golden Rage of TV entertaining. So we owe a lot to that guy, and he's still my best friend. Here's a bit of Starborn in action. Me with my beautiful double neck guitar. Actually, I was just borrowing it that night, but it looked cool anyway. And so, yes, that's Starborn in action. And we played a lot. We put out a couple records and really cut our teeth, even though I was basically 18 years old. 17, 18, and 19, I think, were my years with Starborn. And again, worked everywhere. So with that, we started working in Fresno a lot because, like I said, our agent was there. There was a lot of good clubs. There's a place there called Warnor's Star Theater. Now, here's a really old picture. It was built in 1928. And again, we have no understanding of the history of Fresno. So, if somebody had said to me, that place is haunted, I'd say, well, you're crazy. First, I don't believe in ghosts. And second, yeah, it kind of looks haunted. But with that said, it definitely has a history. You see, it's called Warnor's Theater then. And that's because it was bought by the Warner Brothers. Then it was bought again by another company, and they had to change the name to avoid the copyright infringement. So they put an O in the place of an E, and it became Warnor's Star Theater. Here it was built in 1928, like I said, and this was the first name of it was the Pantages Theater. Let's see, I have a more current. Yeah, there's a very current picture of it. That's kind of basically what it looked like 40 years ago, too. When you look at this picture, up to the upper left side, you can envision there's an extra structure up there. And what that was a nightclub. That was the nightclub called the Star Palace. So I have a picture of that. Now it's a condensed shot. The Star Palace is actually much bigger than this, but that's a portion of it for sure, because I recognize the floor because it says Star Palace on it. Anyway, we played there often. We got to open up for a lot of big name acts there, so it was a really fun time. One night we had the opportunity to open up a show for these guys, the Payolas. I don't know if any of you guys remember the Payolas. Does anybody remember the Payolas? They had a hit song called "Eyes of a Stranger," and yeah, it was pretty good. This is a great song, actually. And so we got a lot of, acts that were current, a lot of classic rock stories. And it was a lot of fun playing there. And so I remember this night. Why would I remember this night of all nights? Because something happened this night. After we were through playing, I had a friend there. She was someone that I would see when I'd come into town, and we went into the backstage area of the nightclub, which was adjacent to our agent's office. His name was Dave Sveck, as a matter of fact, and he wasn't in his office, and we were the only ones in the backstage at that moment. And she turned to these doors and said, "Where does that go?" And I had no idea. Even though I'd been pretty much throughout the place, I'd been through it. I had no idea where these doors led. And she said, "Well, let's take a look, shall we?" So, very adventurous young lady. And where it led was to this. This is the Warnor's Theater. Capacity, I think, is about 3,000. I'm not really sure on what the audience, how many people they can get in there, but this place is ornate and just a work of art. Gorgeous. The balconies, the ceilings, the side walls, the lobby, everything top notch. Those doors that she wanted to go through, one of them was connected to the balcony right up there above the well, there's two doors there, and I'm not sure which one of those two. I'm thinking it's the lower one that led to the backstage of the nightclub, which was, again, you can picture it, up and away. So I can't remember her name. I wish I could, because I'll never forget her, and I know she'll never forget me, specifically because of this. But this gal and I walked out onto the balcony, and the place was empty. It was shut down for the night. Nothing was going on. No lights were on. No sounds were being made. It was turned off. But the thing about it was so big that it literally generated its own light. And you could see pretty darn well just because of the size of the place. It was all dark, but we could see well enough to go, "Oh, this is so cool. So cool." And her idea was to go down to the stage. She just saw AC/DC play there the week before. She'd seen Rush play there and Greg Kihn and all these big acts. She's like, can we go down there? I want to know what it feels like to be them. So, sure, I said, let's go. Matter of fact, here's a shot of, it's a promo shot of somebody on the stage itself. So we came down to the lobby, down these, down the aisleways and up on this stage to a completely deserted room. And it was fun. She started dancing around, making like she was playing air guitar, and we were rocking out like we were a rock band. Even though I wasn't a rock band, we were making like we were rock stars. And so it was fun. It was, we were all cutting loose, making lots of noise. Just then, out of nowhere, we hear the door that is to the back of this stage. Now, let me be more clear. Here's the stage. You see a curtain in the back. That curtain was completely drawn. And so then it goes back maybe another 10, 12 feet or so to these two stairwells in the very back of the stage. And they lead to an underground dressing rooms. I think if I'd have counted them, there may be like 30 dressing rooms down there, because obviously this is for a ballet, Broadway type shows with just a lot of costume changes and everything like that. So that's how they did it. There were two, like I said, there were two stairwells in the back of this, the very back of this stage. And again, the doors are open. It's all light here, but you can just imagine it was dark, and yet we could see well enough to get down there and have our fun. And as I said, out of nowhere, we heard a door close at the bottom of the door of the stairwell, which would be to the left in this picture. And it wasn't like a closet door. It was like a real heavy industrial, like a school gymnasium door, cha-chung, and loud. I mean, it was so loud that it stopped us from making all our noise. Cha-chung. And we stopped. And we looked, because we knew exactly where it came from, or at least which direction. And what we saw was the stairway and the iron bar railings that were at the top of the stairway. So it was not obstructed. And just then, we started hearing footsteps. And these are footsteps that are coming up the stairs, no doubt about it. You could hear anything. It was that quiet, but there was no light. So that was weird right from the get-go. But to hear the steps, which I can emulate, were this. So it was like a sliding foot up each step. And as it came up the stairs, we both saw a form of a human coming up the stairs. How perfect was it that it was so dark that we just could not make out who it was or what it was, as far as, is that a big guy, a little guy, a woman? Who is it? It's obviously someone with the authority to be here, and they're about to yell at us or identify themselves. They did neither. Instead, what they did was they came up to about the second or third step from the top and stopped. Just stopped. And we were there looking at this, waiting for someone to say something, this someone to say something, and they didn't. They just stood there and stared at us. There was a white cinder block wall there that I recall very well, which helped us make out the fact that this was the figure of somebody there. But at this point, it was somebody there that was messing with us. There would have been no other excuse, because I said, hello. Hello? No response. That instantly makes my girlfriend a little nervous as she moves towards me. And I get this feeling like, okay, somebody is here that shouldn't be. And I need to either do one of two things. It was that fight or flight thing. I decided, you know what? I'm a pretty big guy. I'm going to go with the fight thing because, my manager managed this place, and gosh darn it, if anybody has a right to be here, it's me, or somebody else that, is working here that would obviously answer back when I said hello to them in a very clear voice. So it was fight. And I got angry and I got big and I went, okay, I'm going to move towards this person and I'm going to say hello like I really mean it. And that's what I did. We slowly walked towards him, I'd say him for lack of a better term, and I said again, hello, in a very loud voice. No answer. This is why, while we're moving towards whatever it is, the closer we get, initially when it happened, I'd say it was probably about 25, 30 feet away. That goes way back. The closer we got, the less and less we could see the form. It more or less dissipated into thin air. And the thing that set us off was, one, it was almost all the way to the top of the stairs, meaning that if who or whatever it was crouched down right there, we still would have seen him. But there was nothing. The other thing that was really, I guess this is the one that pushed us over the edge, and that was the fact that we did not hear whatever it was go back down the stairs, and we absolutely would have. So, perfect timing. My girlfriend lets out the most blood-curdling horror film scream you can imagine. And fight went to flight. And it's like, okay, let's run. You can see the orchestra pit there. I actually jumped the orchestra pit. I didn't take the stairs because, and so did she. I didn't leave her there. But we ran up because the only logical thing that we could make of it was that somebody was there that shouldn't have been, that was pranking us. Now, folks, let me show you what's underneath this stage. It's basically this. A couple long, this is taken quite a ways down one of the halls by a company called Real Ghost Story, or what are they called? Let me look at this. Ghost Watch Paranormal. Yes, this place was known as a hotspot. Now, this was after our experience, I'm sure, but this is what was down there. No reason to be down there and at 11 o'clock at night, especially with no lights on. And the reason that company took a picture of this is because this is where they had their experiences when they came to do their paranormal readings. Isn't that ironic? Well, the irony was only beginning. When we ran up into the club, I found my agent, and I said to him, "Hey, Dave, I need to ask you." And by the way, this was 1983. I said, "Dave, somebody is downstairs messing around that shouldn't be." And his response was, "You went down to the downstairs, down to the stage?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "Okay, well, yeah, that's where the fuse boxes are." And I had to go down there one time a few months ago at night. And I swore I would never do that again. Huh? And his response was, "I was sure I wasn't alone. I was sure something was watching me. And it scared me to death. So I'm not going back down there." I mean, by the way, everybody knows. And I say, "Knows what, Dave? Didn't you know? This place is haunted." So, without any preconception of the fact that this place had this reputation, we had this experience. And it was quite a deep reputation as well, as you'll find out. That was, oh my gosh, did I see a ghost? Was that what that was? I mean, it could be argued that that's what that was. There's no other way of describing or explaining what that was. So, fast forward 25 years, I meet my wife. Her boss is from Fresno. And I said, oh, I used to play in Fresno all the time. We used to play at this place called the Warnor Star Palace. And she was like, oh, yeah, I used to go there all the time. My brother used to work there. I was like, oh, neat. Do you know that he saw a ghost there once? Do tell. But the irony of these things, where this place had such a reputation as a hot spot, and that I didn't know, that this girl didn't know, and she was from there, but I don't think, matter of fact, I know she would not have asked to go down to that stage had she known. What a perfect place to haunt, too. I mean, it's just one of those, gorgeous theaters that you can imagine that going on. Ghostwatchparanormal.com is where I found where this team of paranormal folks went and did their scientific research reading on the hotspot. And what they said was that the hallways downstairs were endless and the air was electric with potential. We found ourselves in situations where we knew we were not alone. We were being watched and we were being touched. They even got audio. I can't play it right now. It's not coming up for me. But they got audio of the quote-unquote apparition or whatever saying, no. No. That was the thing. So whatever it was not happy. That was the thing that they took away from it. And, although they don't have any real pictures of it, they were there and they called this one a definite haunting. So, there you have it. That's my ghost story from 40 years ago. And friends, this really happened. And there's no way that we would have not heard whatever that was go back down the stairs. Had it just been me, I would have thought, well, Pat, one too many or whatever, and it wasn't even that. We were sober, or at least for the most part. And the fact that I was with someone who had the very same experience as me, all these things come together, and it's like, go ahead and ask me again. Pat, do you believe in ghosts? I have to say, I don't know. Rather than just, no, I don't. Fact is, based on this, yeah, I do. And it goes against my every belief. So it might make you wonder, how does this make you feel? Do you feel haunted? Do you feel like, oh, poor guy? In fact, I feel totally blessed. I feel totally blessed that this happened. It was, I gotta believe, a 1 in a million, or maybe in a higher number than that, occurrence that could happen to anybody. But the fact that it was just so perfect. I mean, this ghost knew how to do some haunt, And apparently, according to this research team, there's more than one. Something going on in the ladies' restroom, something going on in one of the kitchens. So, yeah, pretty interesting to have a ghost experience, not realizing you're in a place that's extremely ghosty, and then be ghosted. Yeah, it's true. This is the truth. So with that, here comes Halloween. I hope you guys all have a wonderful holiday. Thanks for being with me. I'm sorry about the beginning here. Like I said, I'm having to kick these machines every now and then just to get them going. But at least they turned on for me. And I sure appreciate you guys that stuck with me and that are here. Tomorrow night, I'm sure a good portion of you know what's happening. That's Dave Sundstrom, Thrash Pondo Ponds, Barry King, and myself are coming together for the, here's what Dave calls it, and I loved it, Retropalooza. And that's tomorrow live on Dave's channel. So I'll bet you as soon as he pushes go live, it'll work too, as opposed to mine. So again, thanks for your patience, folks. And I hope this scared you, because it really happened. And the place apparently really is haunted. Pleasant dreams, darlings.